Enola Holmes 3. I think Netflix wanted me to be more excited about this than I actually am. At the beginning of the year, when Netflix was rolling out their check out what we got coming to you in 2026, they were like, and this is the year for Enola Holmes 3. I was like, oh my God, I could not care less if I tried. And it's not that the Enola Holmes franchise is bad. It's just I don't care. And now that we have young Sherlock, it feels like my attention is being drawn in a specific way to a different Sherlock property now. So while Enola Holmes might have had a perspective for a while, now we have a different one, which is a little bit more fun. It's admittedly a lot more fun watching Sherlock solve crimes with Moriarty. Like, that is just, it's a weird combination we haven't been privileged to before. So the fact that, you know, it feels different. And it's the first season versus the third Enola Holmes movie. Theretofore, good man. And we must once more into the brig we go, though, for Enola Holmes, starring Millie Bobby Brown, Henry Cavill, and interestingly enough, not Sam Claflin. Did you know that Sam Claflin couldn't be in this movie due to scheduling conflicts? I was like, you go, Sam. You go. You would think of the three, he would have the least scheduling conflicts. I feel like I rarely see him in things, but cool. I'm glad he had a scheduling conflict. It is kind of weird that the whole film hinges upon Enola's wedding and he's not at it. But they try to make up for it by bringing in Helena Bonham Carter to play her mother. So, this is fine. It's a fine movie. It has audio description. I thought the audio description was decent. It tracks it much like you would need to for clues of a murder mystery type experience where the little things matter and you're looking for, because she often revisits clues. There's a lot of Sherlock in this, I should say, without him being present, because the film's plot hinges on Sherlock being kidnapped and then she has to find him. So, but she hears him a lot, like as if he were to tell her to do something. So she keeps like recounting her words. So in terms of like an Enola Holmes movie, where she just does these things on her own because she's great at it, she does have to kind of reference, like, what would my brother say? WWSHD. What would Sherlock Holmes do? um, and so I don't know. Is it really like the best Enola Holmes movie? Eh, I I didn't hate the film. I thought the film was intriguing. Some people have called it an exposition film because it constantly has to explain itself. A lot of mystery films have to do that. Because oftentimes you have a detective who's jumping into a story that has a background that they're not familiar with. And that happens here too. There's a lot of like backstory that involves into why things have happened that Enola just wasn't previously privy to. So yeah, she has to ask people a lot of questions and they have to explain a lot of things. And that, I find that in a lot of detective stories and movies, is that you end up sort of having to learn about the thing, learn the reason why, learn the killer's motives, learn who these characters are. All those kind of things already happen in this genre. So to unfairly peg Enola Holmes 3 for having like an inordinate amount of that is just, it's a little extreme. But some have tried to do that, probably just because they don't have another way of saying, I didn't like this movie. I thought this movie was okay. Like, it's the same way I feel about the other two. They're fine. I'm fresh on it. I'm not enthusiastic about it. There's a difference between being fresh and saying, yes, yes, queen. Just trying to get you to run out to the theaters. And there are other times where I've talked about this a lot in my other reviews. It's like, it's a very non-binary world now. Things are either fresh or rotten for me. I have to choose. Recommend, not recommend. The ambiguity of a gray area where it's like, for some people it would be better than for others, but I don't have the latitude to be able to have that serious of a conversation. So in general, yeah, I think Enola Holmes 3 is fine. I think the people who are likely to want to see it have probably seen the first two, would like to see the third. I don't think they'll be disappointed by what happens in the third film. My biggest detraction here is Moriarty, which might be a spoiler. I don't remember the first two films. I don't remember if we had a Moriarty in the first two films. Oh, I truly, like, the first two films have fallen into the black hole of Netflix's ongoing streaming onslaught of films where only the good ones stand out, and you remember like a couple of them, and you're like, oh man, that movie slapped, and then you see another one and you're like, what was that? I've seen that, but what was that? Who's even in that? Like you're like, that movie was only, oh my god, the movie was only 3 years ago. So yeah, I would say Enola Holmes falls under that category for me, where I don't know what it is. Could I tell you what the first two movies are about? No. I think one of them was involved. There was like a fire. I kind of remember there being like a fire, like women were working somewhere, like a factory. Maybe. Does that sound familiar to anybody? That's all I have. Anyway, so for this one, our Moriarty is, I don't know what they're trying to do here, and it's not. I'm not one of those channels. I'm not one of those channels that comes on here and is like, women, we got another gender bend. They're flipping the man roles into female roles, and we're getting rid of the man out there. Men, we got to get together. It's another role that's been gender flipped. It's okay. They have a female Moriarty in the Enola Holmes franchise. It's okay. I thought about it too, because I was like, all of these are just sort of expansions and interpretations upon the original subject matter anyway. And what makes Enola Holmes different is that it centers on Enola. So Moriarty makes sense for her to mirror Enola more than it does Sherlock, because it's not his franchise. For the same reason, one of the things that makes young Sherlock interesting is the fact that he's working with Moriarty. So instead of Watson, you know what I'm saying? Instead of his typical BFF, it's Moriarty. So the little quirks are what make it different, because we've had so many Sherlock Holmes adaptations where it's just like, do you really want it to be exactly the same all the time? Especially when it is like a deviation upon the source material. This isn't a traditional Sherlock Holmes movie where they decided all of a sudden Watson should be, or Moriarty should be female. No, it's Enola's movie. However, her energy in this is like 2000, and I need it to be like 50. She comes across like she's insane. Like, she's like the human equivalent of the Tasmanian devil. Like, every time she comes out, she's like, ah! Hey, yeah, I've got you. Ah! And I'm just like, oh god damn, what the I was like, what are the choices being made with this? It's so over the top. It's so campy. It's so trashy. I cannot do this version of it was so distracting. Every time Moriarty popped out, and Moriarty pops out with like, without them really supporting how smart Moriarty is. That's always been the thing, is we get sort of an evolution of Moriarty, like the reminder of like, oh yes, Moriarty is also the greatest foe to our hero because they're just as smart, and this is why. And they are, evenly matched. No, it just feels like Moriarty just pops up. And every time she pops up, she just attacks with like reckless abandon. There's nothing like smart or sly. There's nothing that feels like it's a well-planned trap. He should feel a little bit more like Jigsaw and a little less like Animal from the Muppets. Like, the betrayal of Moriarty here is just, abysmal, and very and detracted the most from the film. But this is fine. If you liked Enola Holmes, you'll probably like this the third one. I don't know that it brings anything new to the table. Millie Bobby Brown is okay. Henry Cavill is okay. I enjoyed Helena Bonham Carter as I do in most things in life. It's really hard to not enjoy Helena Bonham Carter in film, but the film is meh. It's fine. I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna contribute to an onslaught of rotten, because I don't think it is different or far worse than the two things that came before it. And I don't think this series has been detrimental to cinema as a whole. So Enola Holmes 3 is getting a 6.8 out of 10. Fresh from me. It's not exciting. It's not an exciting number, I'll admit that. But fresh is fresh. Netflix will take the win, take the victory lap, and run around. My biggest qualm was Moriarty, and not even the fact that she's female. I just need her to tone down. I need her to bring it down. She's way up here. I'm doing a hand thing for my blind audience. I know I'm a blind film critic, and I need her to bring it way down. Way down. I can't even, my hand can't reach the floor. I'm in a chair. But all the way. Lower the energy. If we bring Moriarty into Enola Holmes 4, give her Ambien before she performs. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I always appreciate it. Click like, subscribe, give me some comments, do what you need to do. I'll see you guys on the other side.